review it? Awesome. Thank you.
Dallas, who is in attendance tonight?
Oh, this evening I do have 5 of my FFA members. 3 of them are here to support Monica and Sophia, but of course we have Sophia Larry and Monica Ruiz, as well as Ethan Metzger, Aiden Metzger, and our chapter president, Carissa Cook.
Very nice. Thank you all for being here.
Take a picture now.
Me? Why me? No.
Yeah, get in there.
Sure.
Who's running that?
Wait.
Have everyone take it in.
It's like you like.
She's
Oh. Maybe you decide to stretch. Now you know how the house is, right?
You're right. This is the more I keep going. Too many directions. Thank you all.
Right, you have me do it. Thank you guys.
See ya.
Good night. Mr. Wagner, that is just the greatest thing.
It is.
Ready for our IPs?
I am ready for item B. Item B, board members came out of a discussion with, Dr. Archambault and Mrs. Lee and I, a few days ago, where we were talking about our strategic plan and needing to work a little bit on our strategic plan, start moving on where we want to be, and trying to come up with a framework and a timeline as to how soon we'll have our new strategic plan live. We know that we have a couple of exiting board members and we have a couple of new board members coming on. And so we want to have plans so we can roll into that transition and have a strong, good strategic plan. So tonight, we are going to have a 15-minute discussion where we will talk about our process, our roles, our guiding principles, and the work. And I created a document there, but really tonight it's just about you as board members having a discussion so that way we can be ready to lead with our new board members in the event.
Why don't you, for the audience, give a little overview of what a strategic plan is and the purpose of it, and then, you know, you could do a brief overview on what the process would be, and that would allow us, the board, to have that discussion.
Perfect. Every school district in the state of New Mexico has a strategic plan where they set their goals for the district. And some of them are very bold goals. Some of them are strong academic goals. Our previous strategic plan, which expired last summer, was a 5-year strategic plan that had 4 goals. The first one was that we wanted to improve academically. Our second goal was that we wanted a highly qualified staff of good teachers. Our third goal was that we wanted safe and inclusive schools. And our fourth goal was that we wanted to engage our community. We have very diverse communities in Cibola County. And so we don't want to get far away from that because those are pretty sound goals, but we do want to add goals as needed or modify goals as needed. The purpose of a strategic plan is it sets a clear, coherent, and measurable roadmap for improving student outcomes, strengthening instructional systems, honoring tribal sovereignty through meaningful consultation, and enduring resources aligned to the needs of all students, especially those identified under Yazzie Martinez. This unified framework outlines the full process, roles, guiding principles, and the board work session structure. So that's kind of the purpose of why we have one.
Right.
Now it's time that we've kind of poured the flour in it, so now you guys have your ingredients. We'll make a really good cake.
There we go. And I'll point out for anybody who looks at our agendas now, we do on every relevant item on our agendas, we do note which strategic plan goal is impacted by whatever the item is. And while these goals are easily described briefly, our strategic plan is, I think close to 50 pages long. And so board members, we're in the, cusp of needing to get this plan moving forward. And I have been made aware by Mr. Widener that he has spoken so far with a couple of people and I guess businesses, you would say, that provide services to school districts to help create and go through all of the steps needed to have a strategic plan. And we have a couple of people that Mr. Weiner has been in contact with about that already. I think he's waiting for the third entity to be able to present to the board what those different people can provide to us as a board. And I know we all have had board training that outlines exactly the steps needed to be taken to make a robust and meaningful strategic plan. Not just meeting with us and the district leaders, but meeting with stakeholders and community members to ensure that everybody in the district's needs are going to be met through that strategic plan. As far as Mr. Weiner was indicating, strategic plan goals, student development, and making sure that we're recognizing our sovereign nations and what their cultural needs are, and the diversity and equity and inclusion needs, among about a million other things, right? So board members, we've had in our packet what Mr. Widener was reading about, and he outlined for us several phases. Phase one would be preparation and design. Phase two would be listening and engagement. 3 would be drafting a plan. 4, review, revision. 5 would be adoption. Phase 6 would be implementation. And these all board members are just genuinely in the development process, getting the big key things down. But we board members need to look at those, and we need to talk about the timeline for this. We need to talk about what all of the roles are as far as, our role, the stakeholders' role, the superintendent and district leadership. And Mr. Weiner did a really good job outlining that in the document that he shared and presented us. Ms. Daly, were you able to get that, the strategic plan document open so that you're able to look at that with us?
Not yet. I need to go print them. I've been listening, so let me take a few minutes and I'll go print them.
Okay. Dr. Guy, Walter, do you have any, since we have time for discussion?
How do we stand on that? When the last strategic goal, did we meet any of those goals? Supposed to have, did we pass them? And who was part of that?
So I mentioned that some of the goals in districts are very robust. Our academic goals were very rigorous and open. We are moving towards Cibola. We have not hit the mark. We had very high goals and we did not attain. The strategic plan 5 years ago was designed by the administrative team, the former superintendent. There was a consultant that was brought in to have some of the stakeholder meetings and conversation and site meetings. And so our strategic plan was originally adopted in 2021,
20,
but it was 2020. That's
is that right, Guy?
correct, because it expired this
Yeah.
summer. It was adopted in 2020. And that's kind of what has been governing. They're set for 5 years.
Are they, there's any kind of accountability to it? Like I said, like we start in 2026. Every year, do we go back and see if this year we should be here, this year we should be here?
That's what Mr. Weiner's evaluation is based on. Is a big part of his evaluation is based on how he is running the district in order to meet the strategic plan goals that have been set.
I understand that, but the administration before that, were they on top of that, or, you know?
Right.
I mean,
That would be for Dr.
I mean, we'll do
Archibald.
this, but are we gonna stay on top of it? Did they stay on top of it the last 5 years?
I would even say, that you guys probably should have annual work sessions where you look at your strategic plan and compare that with the superintendent's evaluation. And see if we're making progress. But I would think once we have it ready, if it's ready this summer or this spring, then you might want to revisit it every spring.
So I'm just wondering if they actually made, how close did they get to their goals and.
Not
Very close, so
not
we don't
very
wanna do
close.
that again.
correct. We want to shoot for the moon, but
Realistically, so.
let's be real. Let's have smart goals. They call smart goals.
Guy, anything you'd like to add? You have the best experience of all of us with creating and approving the last one.
I think I've been involved with, excuse me, two of them. I think Dr. Space created a plan. And consultants come in and they did the same thing, which was to acquire input from a variety of stakeholders, tribes, and staff members, and formulated a set of goals at that time. And then, and before we could complete that, I believe then we moved to a new superintendent. So then that process began again. And I don't remember the actual details, but I recall it was organized in a similar fashion as I can see here, where you sought external input from a lot of sources. And then we began to work with the board to formulate some beginning ideas about what it is that we want to be doing. And they organized the process of data collection, of academic data, attendance data, a range of data that was based upon a longitudinal analysis of the district's experience in academics, and then formulated a set of goals that the board felt were probably as could be accomplished, but you never know. The goals in retrospect, probably, were challenging because it is one of the more difficult things to take a school district that, has a wide variety of needs and to try to produce an instruction curriculum, trying to increase decrease the academic achievement gap that they existed for many years, not only in this district, but also within the state of New Mexico. That's what it is. But it sought to it focused on four critical areas and with a range of actions, activities that were reported on an annual basis, if I remember right. There was even, mid-year, meetings where they would, look at where they were at mid-year then to determine where next to go. And then at the end of the year, a, what we call it, a report was made to identify those areas that we had transcended those that were weaknesses in them. Before that, strategic plans period of time, ended, we then had Mr. Pettis resign. And so right in the middle of this, strategic plan, we then got his agenda. So that's where we're at this point. So that year that Mr. Wagner came in was which year was that?
2023.
2023. So he had 2 years left. So we had, a sizable amount of the plan remaining. And so that's what you're referring to. Then all said and done, what happens at the end of the 5-year period? And the academic data has been reported to the board. If I recall right, the academic data was reported in September. That revealed the strengths of our students and also the weaknesses. And we've seen that same data since that time. So the last report, I believe was in 23, and we still had a long way to go. We still have a long way to go with respect to English language arts, a long way to go with mathematics. The goal also is to improve graduation rates. And those are done by cohorts. That we basically, you take the ninth graders and try to get them to remain in your school so that we can provide them education for 4 years. And then see how well they succeeded and whether or not we've been able to get them all to graduate. That's one of the things. I think that there was a lot. I think we can, I don't want to say go through a review of all of the different activities.
I did graduation goal.
Right? The recent grad
Cohort was different than what the current, graduating class was, because the reporting that we had was how many started the year and how many, walked the stage, but the cohort number is different than what that number
the
is.
state relies on the cohort.
Right.
That means how many of your ninth graders stay with you for 4 years?
And that,
What the high schools do is to say, who do we have at the end of the 11th grade? Who is coming back in the 12th grade? And they identify those students who have weaknesses and strengths, whose credits, who need credit recovery. So there's a concerted effort to try and get all the kids who are in 12th grade to graduate. So this board has monitored the progress made throughout that senior year to ensure that all the students are going to graduate. Now, some of those students were not here with us in that grade. They could have come in 10th grade. They could have come in 11th grade. So you're not always in control of that. So in other words, you haven't provided them the benefit of the instructional program for all 4 years. So you take them and you move them as far as you can. And this board has monitored that and has received reports mid-year and then almost monthly to check and both high schools have done so. And so we both have tried to make an effort to ensure that all the students are able to graduate. There may be some, and I think we did a better job this last year in trying to get them all to graduate. We're going to, this high schools will do the same again. So that's an area that we will want to analyze and talk with our stakeholder groups about our kids, but community plans. How do we want to approach the successful graduation of all the students in our school? So you start to think about your ninth graders. So this strategic plan is going to be, we'll be looking at the ninth graders starting next fall.
Right.
And they will then, so your strategic plan would attempt to try and ensure that we have all the strategies that are going to be successful in getting the kids to graduate in 4 years. Notwithstanding, we know that some of them are late, but we also know some of them new kids are going to arrive. So that's a portion of it. I think we need to be smarter about how we focus our resources, our energies in the strategic plan. The strategic plan was contained a lot of activities that were important. We need to, as we can see, hopefully have a better idea of how best to focus our energies so that we concentrate on that which actually is going to make a difference to kids when they graduate. So you're saying 5 years from now, will we have implemented a strong strategic plan that will succeed in getting all the kids to progress successfully in 5 years, say first graders to sixth grade, sixth graders to to Tondo all the way up. So you've got it's a great opportunity for us to really know how to concentrate our efforts and develop milestones, developing modeling reports and timeline. And so that's what I was going to talk about some other things, but it's just in response to what you're saying, trying to reflect that.
And I could understand the COVID hit too, so you guys, the strategic plan went out the door. There's a lot of
Throughout the state, the COVID had a serious impact upon families, first of all.
Let's see what Emily has to say
Yeah.
before we run out of time,
Any
sir.
Or-
Emily, did you have anything you wanted to add, Miss Daly, to the discussion about the strategic plan? She's muted, so I don't know if she's back from printing.
No, I just put them on my screen. Um,
Oh.
The biggest thing I saw was that we did through the planning stages manage to increase the graduation rate at both high schools. Um, Although a smaller percentage, but a lot of that was attributed to COVID, to families moving out of the district, transferring to other schools. So that was a great impact on it. And then also we had a big change in data assessment, um, data needs, and how they were being evaluated. And so, but irregardless of COVID and all of that stuff, uh, I think we were still at least a little successful in raising the graduation rate, which I think gives a lot to say about the planning, the educational staff, the the guidelines and principles that are at each school, so that these students are able to move forward. And so there may have been some setbacks in some of the strategic goals that had been set way back then, but I think we had it had a lot to do with the change in staff, the change in the way we assess data, and also you forget too that there was a change in the method of state assessment. We went from the park to the NUMASA, which greatly had big influence on the way our students were being tested and were being assessed as far as what they're learning. So all the schools had to step back and re-evaluate how they were how and what they were testing and teaching the kids, their students, because the NUMESA guidelines were extremely different than the park and the way that the students were being taught under the park principles versus the NUMASA principles. It didn't mean that the NUMASA was a lot easier. It was just a way that our students were being instructed and how they were being taught to answer, to read, to evaluate, and simply just to write differently than they had been told under the park. And the park was really what would I call it? Wasn't geared toward actual student orientation. It was more geared toward a higher value than what we had originally had instructed our students with. There was a lot of I remember specifically there was a lot of um, oh, misunderstanding with certain words, and I remember distinctly when a student asked Miss Daly what is linoleum, and I'm like, I knew what it was because I grew up in that era, and however they didn't know what that meant. They didn't know what a walk-in safe was. They did not know what the Ford, uh, the original Ford, well, a long time ago. I can't remember what the car dealership was, but there were so many changes from that park to Nemessa that I think our students did a better job because they had a better understanding of what Nemessa guidelines were versus the park was geared more toward a higher echelon that was just not in our district yet. But I think we're moving towards that. I can tell by being in the classroom that our students are uh, understanding the processes and the testing, and not all of us are good test takers, but we students are getting there, and I think um, giving some more time and maybe a little revamping of our strategic plan to address those comparisons and those problem areas that the next strategic plan that you guys develop will surely encompass all the new methods and strategies that are now being instilled in our district. So I'm just wishing all of you the best of luck when you come up with a new strategic plan and you consider all those differences. Thank you.
For that, ma'am. That was excellent input. Very appreciated. Um, Mr. Wider, board members, I think probably to wrap up, since we've gone a bit over time, we do need to address that we did discuss the possibility of having a work session immediately following the NMSD conference on Saturday, which is December 6th. We were just thinking a couple of hours to be able to really sit down and get a true, working plan moving forward so that, and by then you hopefully will have a little bit more information about who, the consultants would be that we could use, and you could present us that information. But we'll be at that conference anyway, and it would make sense for us to be able to go ahead and meet at that time. I believe Dr. Archambault and I said that we thought that we would be able to be available. Ms. Hunt Daly, I don't know, if you would be able to be there on that Saturday in Albuquerque. We thought we could try and get that scheduled, and then Mr. Jaramillo on that Saturday, the 6th. So I
We're
think
talking about November, November
December 6th, ma'am.
December 6th.
Yes, the
Okay.
NMSBA conference is the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Okay, December.
And so we were looking at just trying to get us
I
together on the 6th
I should
to
be
have.
able to be there. I won't be
Great.
on break yet, but it's a Saturday, so I should be able to be there. I don't know if it makes much difference. I'll be only in office for another couple of weeks, but it might be worthwhile to invite the new board member from our
Yes,
district to also be there.
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. We'll be sure to do that. All right, I think board members will move forward with our next.
Back this one,
Yes, sir.
hold on. You
We're going
so it's a pretty good summary. And I've not seen that before.
I appreciate you guys
So,
giving me the direction.
so it's pretty inclusive and it's something we can use on that
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And it doesn't mean that we're going to make decisions about it. We just basically, what I said, trying to talk to people to get the new board members on board so that they know that in January, we will really accelerate our efforts to build the ACDG plan. Ideally, trying to come up with a plan that we can afford to approve in spring. It's a tight schedule, but
Doable.
if we spend a little quality time on that Saturday, we may be able to move it ahead faster. But thank you. Good.
Thank you, sir.
Lee, I'll throw one more interjection up there.
Yes, sir.
I know I'm not a board member, so I was.
Are you sure? You're here with us.
When Dr. Archambault was talking about our kids that are graduating, and they'll come in as freshmen and then graduate. We have some really good data and information and goals that are coming from our Johns Hopkins partnership with Michelle Farms. The portrait of a graduate. That's our kids creating their academic goals. So that might be something that we really want to consider as we delve into that work.
Thank you for sharing that. Very good, sir. Appreciate that. All right, board members. Mr. Widener. Are you ready, sir, now that you've put a few minutes?
I'm ready. I actually asked Mrs. Griego if she would talk about some of the professional development that we've had going on. We've really tried to be very focused on the professional development that we're having, that we're attending, that we're sending people to, we're bringing people in. And so I've asked Mrs. Griego to come give a brief presentation. Looks like she's got 10 minutes to talk about Marzano and synergy. And then jump on. I'll text him that he needs to get on and present his slide.
I think Dr. Martin's gonna try to pull it up.
It's not what I have.
Oh, do you?
I do. Well, I'll see, do you have it, Dr. Martin?
In the folder, Candace sent it. I'll try to give the elevator
You can do
speech.
Oh. We'll see if technology will allow me to share.
Will I be able to see it? Oh yeah, it's
Yes.
coming up.
Very good. Dr. Martin for the
Thank you,
same.
Dr. Martin. Good evening, Madam President. Good evening, board members, Mr. Widener. So I was asked to do a brief talk about what we've done this far as professional development for our district. Um, one, one of our main professional developments was Marzano. So last year we took a team to visit with high quality instruction with Marzano. And we decided that that would be a good pathway for professional development for our teachers and our instructional leaders at our school sites. So we introduced the new art and science of teaching. Um, and that came with a couple of professional days. But one of the biggest emphasis with Marzano and the new, again, I like to emphasize that, the new art and science of teaching is the shift from what teachers are doing to looking at how students learn. And I think that takes into consideration a lot of what Miss Emily Hunt Daly talked about, where she saw the difference from standardized testing to the new NUMASA testing, where we're looking at achievement and what the students can prove their mastery at. And so that is a lot of what Marzano is working with us. I do have a couple of things I'll just hand out and talk about them as I'm presenting for Marzano. We have, there's a map where the design framework, where there is a lot of information, but if you look at it and it's broken up into 4 categories, it is about good teaching, good quality teaching, and how we support those teachers in the classroom by looking at what the needs are of our students. And that is the blue one. It's the elements with the 10 design areas. And those are broken up. There's 10 categories. Those are the teacher actions, and there are 43 elements. And just to clarify, there is no way that we will get through all 43 elements in 1 year. It's like eating that elephant, little chunks at a time. And so our district goal was to have our instructional leaders at our campuses pick 2 goals that they felt that their campus could work on and get support from our Marzano PD representatives. And so you'll see that we've had, next page, I have our professional development agenda, where we started off with Mike Rule coming in and talking to everybody, our instructional leaders at our leadership summit. He talked about what the rollout would look like, what quality instruction looks like in the classroom, and how we give that professional quality feedback to our leaders and our teachers, and then to our students. We also have it designed where we had 2 consultants, Mike Rule and Jen Shaver, Dr. Mike Rule and Dr. Jen Shaver, come in and provide in-person PD to all of our elementary teachers and all of our secondary teachers. So they've come on August 5th, and then they've come back on August 2nd. And then they recently, in October, did campus walkthroughs. And you'll see the little design that I gave you, what the instructional, what the outcome was. They were going to visit with the instructional leaders, talk about what's going on at their campus, what the leaders could have said, this is what we're doing really, really strong. Here's my goals. Here's what I'm looking for. And then they could have also said, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. So it was a little bit more personal for every instructional leader with those visits. So they started off again with the leadership consultation, and then however the leader of that campus wanted it designed, they could have met with them through PLC groups, or they could have followed them through classroom visits. It was a little bit of a blended. I think a little bit of our secondaries wanted all of the teachers to meet with the consultant. And then we have some more professional development coming for 2nd semester. So it's not a one and done. The rollout of all of the 43 strategies is a continuous process. And it's a feedback, reflection, and then how can we do better? And then, starting with the 2 goals, let's pick 2 more, or if we feel really good, let's pick 4. Whatever we feel strong at each campus, they can accomplish. And that's the leaders choosing their goals. Then we had a Synergy conference. This is offered every year. Synergy is our student information system, and this is our 4th year using Synergy. And if you're not aware, the state has chosen a student information system for every district in the state to use. And Synergy was chosen, so we are very fortunate. One thing about this conference, these are ed tech junkies. I mean, they talk the language. They are, they build programs, programming, whatever our needs are. And what they do is they listen to what your campus needs. And it's a really good time for us to talk with other districts. I got to sit in a couple of sessions with APS people, and they've been using Synergy for 11 years. I've seen when I was with special education, how they've developed and revamped their IEP formats. But it takes time, and all you have to do is plan it and work on it. But it takes planning. And so I think we're on the right track where we're going to hopefully bring in analytics, the SEL part where we could do check-ins, check-outs. There is so much that we can expand with Synergy. Then a little bit more on the expectations from the conference. It's connecting users from around the United States. And I tell you, these are ed tech junkies. I don't know if Mr. Jones is on. He had a couple of slides for professional development with technology.
I don't think this,
He might not.
but I'll share his information. He is currently at a conference. I've been sending Mr. Jones because so much of it is technology. So much of the big ticket items are technology. And so last week he was at the New Mexico Technology and Education Conference. And as you know, technology just becomes more and more. And last night at the conference that he was at, that I was at, we were looking at AI technology, how it works in weapons detection, how it works in scanning people's faces and remembering if they've been on your campus and connecting. We are living in the future. I remember growing up watching the Jetsons, and technology is just taking over. So I asked Scott when he first came in before the meeting. I said, "How was the conference?" And he said it was really great. So we're trying to budget to get people to the important stuff that we definitely want everybody going to Marzano. We want everybody working with Synergy. And how end users can best provide supports for our families. And then Mr. Jones is working on looking at different technologies that we can bring in to make our systems more robust. And we were very ahead of the times when we adopted Synergy, when we purchased the Verkada software last year, that system. So that's kind of our monetary priorities. Sorry, he's here. Oh, Mr. Jones.
Mr.
Can
There you
can you all hear me?
go. Now we can, sir.
What a glorious day. So I apologize. We're in and out of meetings still. So I'm guessing that the question regarding New Mexico technology and education is on point 2. So as you may or may not know, Michelle Lujan Grisham and New Mexico Public Education Department have come to an agreement with a company that's called Securin. Securin does penetration testing on networks from the outside in. Um, it's a technology and network audit of sorts where they are scanning for vulnerabilities. Scott, Isaac, and Nick have taken the district from basically a D rating to being one of the most secure networks in the state of New Mexico across public education, including universities, as well as municipalities, including so cities, counties, villages. So it's a big deal, and our guys were just so humble to hear that that was happening for our district.
Thank you for jumping on, Mr. Jones.
You bet. I apologize for my tardiness. I'm going to run back in with your permission.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just a word of caution because being in the classroom, I know AI is the thing these days, and our students are really learning how to use it, but not to be solely dependent on it. There's been many times where they used AI to, um, well, I hate to say it, but like cheat on tests because they can do that. Uh, I was grateful for Governor Grissom when she outlawed um, cell phones in the classroom because then now the students were forced to come to use their own brain power rather than AI. And so just just a little cautionary for them to learn not to depend on machines to do their thinking for them, that we continue to exercise their minds and build their knowledge rather than how would I say, use their thumbs or their fingers to learn something new. Being old school and been teaching for the last 30 some years, I see more value in them learning, using their brain and learning how to manipulate through things that they know, and they can adjust their way of thinking. So just a little precautionary from an old time teacher.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Ms. Creator.
Sure. I also wanted to bring to your attention, if you have not seen it, the Early College High School Ember. It has a picture of Dr. Martin with Dr. Rule. Um, uh, when Dr. Rule visited his campus and spoke with him and his teachers and his students. So if you haven't seen it, we have extra copies out in the lobby.
Thank you so much.
We also have other professional development that is going on in our district, and some of these are continuous. We have SIOP with John Consvig. Right now, we have 19 to 20 teachers, new teachers to the district that are participating in SIOP. With that rollout, we have 3 professional development trainings that he offers in October, December, and February. And then he also does peer coaching, where after the professional development, he sets up another training. Like his PD is in October, then he does peer coaching, where he goes, spends a week, and takes his teachers to different school sites. So if he's showing you a strategy, how to keep students engaged and so they're more attentive, then he'll go in and observe, and he takes a team and they give feedback to one another. And he does 3 peer coaching trainings with his new cohort. Then we had HMH into science. This year was our first year for our new math adoption, HMH into science. Again, with any new implementation program, any new curriculum, first year is usually, let's figure it out. But we are making progress. Any first year is hard for everything. So we've had continuous professional development for our teachers on how to use the program, and that'll still continue. We also have AVID. Grants High School has AVID Advancement via Individual Determination Program on their campus. This is a wonderful program, and they're building it better every year. I've gone 2 years in a row to a nationally recognized campus in Santa Fe. And when this program extends and you build a team of teachers that support students, it is amazing. So right now, our lead with AVID at Grants High School is Josh Pacheco, and he's doing an amazing job. We also partnered this year with the Cook Center for Human Connection, and this is part of a grant supporting mental health and suicide prevention for children, families, and schools. We have all of our big campus elementaries. We have Mesa View, Mount Taylor, and Milan, and then our 2 middle schools, Los Alamitos and Laguna Acoma, participating in this. This usually helps our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. And then this year we are looking at choosing a new math curriculum. So right now our instruction department is collecting and acquiring as many math programs. I've developed a rubric that next semester we'll start taking the different programs to the school sites and building teams and letting teachers evaluate programs so that we could choose the best program K through 12 for our district. And did I talk about, oh, I skipped the John Hopkins. Oh, I'm sorry, the biggest one. The John Hopkins profile of a graduate, holistic vision of student success. Mr. Widener talked about that a little bit. Tomorrow, our group of students, we have 10 students from Laguna Acoma High School. We have 9 students from Grants High School and 1 student from Early College High School that will be presenting their profile to other schools tomorrow in Albuquerque. And then they will have an opportunity, hopefully in December, to present their completed profile of what a Grants Cibola County School graduate should look like to our school board members. I really want to give a shout out to all the participants. Again, it changes a little bit. Some graduate and then we bring in new members, but the SSAs from both campuses, Laguna Acoma and Grants High School, have been very instrumental and supportive, as well as Dr. Martin. If there's any questions?
Board members, question?
Yes, I see all this PE stuff, the teachers. Do you have any training for principals, like let's say they just freshly just thrown into the schools, and do they have like mentors, or how do those are just questions I'm asking, because we have a lot of young principals. Do they have like a mentor? I know Beth came in and worked with our superintendent, because you just turned into superintendent from principal, which you do need a mentor. But I'm just wondering about our principal, our young one. We just had a presentation last week, and she's ready to move into that position. But do they have somebody to for professional development training, but I mean, those are just thoughts that come to my mind. You know, that's like saying, okay, Walter, here's the school, here you go. You got all the teachers, you know, I'm not sure how, you know, that works, or if we even have any help for our principals.
Everyone needs a coach.
That's what we did with you on the school board. We just threw you on the school
Yeah,
board.
and that's why I already did it for 2 years and I'm learning. Like I said, I listened to Guy, I listened to Rod, I listened to Mr. Jones, because I talked to Mr. Jones a lot. He knows a lot, you know, I mean, he's somebody that I can get in contact with, and I learned a lot from him before I even threw my hat in here. But like I said, we always hear about preventive development, but I just wonder, you know, are we helping our principals? You know, we don't want them to just get overwhelmed. We have one that takes care of 2 schools, and we have some that take, you know, and you are a principal yourself, and just like, who do I go to? I'm just wondering if we have any places, mentors at these principals, or if we have any professional development. I think the only one that's been there a long time is probably the one that Los Alamitos, or that's been a principal, or if she has, or I'm just trying to look at all our principals in general, and they're young. So is our superintendent. And I do believe that you guys need mentors, but I think they do too. Because they come home at the end of the day, I'm just thinking, you know, they come at the end of the day and say, you know, I had this, and they're young. And the teachers are older than them. Those are just my thoughts on professional development.
Mr. Huttermilk, there are some really good programs provided around the state, that come through the Priority School Bureau. And we, as a school district, we like their program. We have a lot of our teachers that are in the LEAD program, the Thrive program. The team that's sitting here around the table, we're in the SOAR program, which is for district office teams. There's a principal program called RISE. Then they have principal trainings as well, SIN, something like that. And then CES, the Cooperative Education Services in New Mexico. We've had a couple of our principals go through training with them as well. They do other training. So we can provide mentors that way and have mentors. And then I know Ms. Gallegos Ortiz and the human resources, we now have an employee handbook. So as a principal, you have, you know, rules that you can refer back to. And we didn't have it until recently. So we're working in that direction, Mr.
Well, I was just wondering, because we have a young team.
We've talked about that. And we've
Yeah,
also,
and that's what I think, but we don't want to come up, but we.
Miss Lightfoot also
support, but they come at the end of the day, and you know, who knows what's going through
under,
their head, because they don't have nowhere to go.
Mr. Wagner's.
I guess, I don't know,
direction.
you've been a principal, so you know, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's just like being my field, that, you know, just don't get jumped in the field, you have to have a mentor there, because you say, hey, you know, we had this kind of surgery, so what do we do?
Thank you, sir. Board members, any further questions? If not, we'll move on to our policy service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Griego. Appreciate that.
Now we have our edu champion, policy guru. Ms. Gallegos Ortiz is going to do three first reads and
I didn't want to drink no coffee before coming. That's one thing I don't really need, you know, coffee. We gotta stop.
You know, Ms. Gallegos Ortiz to begin.
Yes, we've got enough to go on.
We've got a quorum.
We sure do.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the board. Tonight, we're going to start with the first read on Policy Services Advisory, Volume 16, number 2 from July of 2019. This is Policy Advisory 184. This policy advisory was presented in July. It went through a first read, it went to a second read, and then it was presented, but it was tabled. And then it was never brought back. for any kind of discussion or.
July, I'm gonna just interject for the audience, July of 2019.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
So it was never brought in front of the board again. So I'm bringing it in front of the board tonight for a first read, so a determination can be made on this advisory. There are 4 different sections to this advisory. However, on the policy part of J 5350, JLCD, this policy advisory was presented for a first and second read under a different policy advisory of PA 257. And you all approved that one on October 21st of 2025. So the policy part of this advisory is not part of the first reads, but I wanted to put it in here just to make sure that you guys understood that you guys already looked at that one. Okay.
Excellent.
The revisions. So we're gonna look at J. I can't see it. I made it too small. J 5361, JLCDR. This is the regulation for administering medicines to students. We're going to look at J 5381, JLCD EA, which is the exhibit, and then there's a second exhibit of 5382. The revisions align district policy with Senate Bills 204 and 406, which authorize the possession, storage, and administration of medical cannabis under controlled circumstances in New Mexico public schools. A new exhibit under JLCD EB has been added to guide administrators and parents through required documentation, permissions, and procedures. The term physician has been replaced with licensed healthcare professional to reflect current medical practice standards, and the term school employee has been clarified as a licensed school employee to align with state statute 22-1-2. Additional updates were made to the terminology, formatting, and regulation references for consistency with state and federal law on this advisory. Any questions on that one for the first read? Okay. The next one is a first read for, and we already used this form. And this is just the exhibit. It's a form that technology uses for a technology user agreement for new employees or employees that we want to have using our emails or our systems. The only thing that we're asking to add to this form is just a table adding documentation to give us clear information for technology, just putting in a full name of the user, where they're actually going to be working, their primary job title, and if they've got any secondary school sites. So that's the only thing that we want to add to this technology user agreement. Next, for a first read, we want to read Policy Services Advisory Volume 15, number 2, from July of 2018. Again, looking back through meeting minutes, I couldn't find anywhere where this policy advisory was brought in front of school board. So I'm bringing it in front of school board tonight for a first read as well. Also, we had an audit in human resources through Palms and Associates, and these were recommendations. The 3 regulations and exhibits were recommended to be put in our policy manual to comply with House Bill 128. So for exhibit G0881, staff conduct with students, working one-on-one with children and young people was approved for update on 10/21 of 25 under Policy Services Advisory 249. So that one was already taken care of, but we'll be looking at the rest of them under this policy advisory 157, much like the first one that I talked about. So these revisions are being recommended in response to increased concerns statewide about inappropriate staff and student interactions. The proposed updates add the concept of staff boundaries, providing clear direction for employees on how to foster professional relationships while preventing misconduct. The new regulation and accompanying exhibits define these expectations and offer concrete examples of appropriate and inappropriate interactions. The policy also recommends staff training both annually and during employee onboarding, which of course we are already doing, to ensure consistent understanding and compliance. And then the revisions align district policy with New Mexico Administrative Code, codes of ethics and standards of professional conduct, modernizing language and reinforcing professional accountability. Any questions on the first reads for that one?
Board members, question.
Okay.
All right, second reads, ma'am.
Okay, so tonight for our second reads, the first one for our second read is K1000 KDB, Public's Right to Know, Freedom of Information. Again, as we've started looking at writing procedures and looking at our policies, we've looked to see what needs to be updated. This was one of the areas that we felt like needed to be updated. We have a clear submission for procedures for public records requests to include mail, email, or fax under our exhibit K1031 KDBE. It's also adding information specifically on who the request needs to be sent directly to, which of course would be Ms. Turley as our records custodian. And then we're requesting that a revised fee schedule more accurately reflecting current copying and digital processing costs be added to this policy. Are there any questions at this time?
Board members, question? No.
So next we will have a second read on, well, I guess I already went over the form. So the second read would be on the exhibit for that policy. In your packet, you're provided what the form actually looks like now. And then I also put in the new form of what we want it to look like. Again, the information is pretty much the same, but we've added information to include Ms. Turley as the person that is being, that the requests need to go to. And then next we have a second read for E1011 ECABA-R. That's for our ID badges for non-student and staff identification regulation. These revisions strengthen campus safety and accountability and operational consistencies across all GCCS sites. The regulation now clarifies ID badges, expectations for every group, including staff, substitutes, and visitors, always ensuring that they're being seen, worn visibly, and verification. It adds a digital tracking process through the Verkada system, and enhancing record accuracy and audit capability, so we know exactly who is coming in and out of our schools. It standardizes the design and labeling for substitutes and visitor badges with assigned controlled numbers. And it specifies that badges must be returned or forfeited upon separation, administrative leave, or HR request. And finally, it reaffirms the policy's role in supporting the district's comprehensive security plan. Are there any questions on this one?
Board members, questions? All right, we will have consideration of approval of policy K-100 KDD, public's right to know, freedom of information. Policy K-1031 KDD-E, public's right to know, freedom of information exhibit. Policy E-1011 ECABA-R, badges, cards for non-student and staff identification regulation. Superintendent Wagner.
I recommend that we approve the policy.
Excellent. All right, board members, is there a motion to approve the policies listed?
So,
Thank you. Is there a second, please?
second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Dr. Archambault and seconded by Mr. Jaramillo to approve the policy K-100 KDB, public's right to know, freedom of information. Policy K-1031 KDB-E, public's right to know, freedom of information exhibit. Policy E-1011 ECABA-R, badges and cards for non-student and staff identification regulation. Any discussion, board members? Hearing none, we shall proceed to a roll call vote. Mrs. Turley, please.
Dr. Shambo?
Yes.
Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson? Mr. Ortiz?
I saw it.
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Aye, the motion carries. Board members, consent agenda. It is the bills and expenditure report for October 2025. We have consideration of approval of the bills and expenditure report for October 2025. Superintendent.
I recommend we pay the October bills.
Very good. Board members, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the bills and expenditure report for October 2025? Thank you. It has been moved by Mr. Jaramillo and seconded by Dr. Archambault to approve the consent agenda as listed, including the bills and expenditure report for October 2025. We shall proceed to a roll call vote. Mrs. Turley.
Dr. Shambo?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Aye, the motion carries. Next, we have the superintendent's report, sir.
The superintendent's report. I am excited to report my report this month.
Very good.
Have a couple of good things to talk about. I am very pleased with the board's direction to kind of guide me with tribal consultations. We have held 2 pre-tribal consultation meetings with the tribal leadership from Laguna and the tribal leadership from Acoma this month. Mrs. Hunt Daly, I took your advice and I went with a blank notebook and I took lots of good notes. And the tribal leaders told us the information that they wanted. They told us the data that they would like, the information that they would like to see, and they want specific information on their students. And so, and they want to come together as Pueblo people, tribal leadership from Acoma and Laguna both. And so out of those conversations, we have come up with the idea that we're going to have a tribal summit. And it was supposed to be tomorrow's Thursday. It was supposed to be Thursday. And it's kind of like everybody's calendars are so full this time of year. And it worked out better if folks could do it on December 3rd. So we will have the tribal summit on December 3rd. And I have included here in my report, and I won't insult you by reading it to you, but I'll let you all read it. This is kind of my notes of what came out of those meetings. And then 3 weeks ago, we did have our tribal consultation with the Department of Janae Education. As you know, they kind of govern education for the Navajo Nation. And I will definitely be inviting our local chapter houses to come to the summit as well. So our partners are there. And one thing that the tribal leaders said, they really want all the board members there. They said, you know, if there's issues, we can all work together to get through that. So I'll have Mrs. Turley put out a PSA for December 3rd, and we are hoping that it'll be a great gathering and do what's best for our children that live on the pueblos and on the Navajo Nation. The second item in my report tonight came out of my conversation with Dr. Archambault and Mrs. Lee a week ago, talking about that as a board, you hire a superintendent and you oversee a budget, right? You make sure that we have budget to keep the lights on and keep the people employed and make payroll. In our conversation, we talked about the budget and the budget for 26-27. We will be, you go through months of building the budget. You look at projections, you look at your numbers, you look at your staff, you look at your retirees, you look at your positions, your class numbers. And we talk to stakeholders. You know, so much of our budget goes to salary, right? It's a big chunk of the money goes to salary. And so we're starting the process of building the budget. The new board members will come on, and we're hoping it's a seamless transition, and that we can build a solid budget that is fiscally sound and good to provide opportunities for kids. So I wanted to create a framework, a timeline to let you know kind of what we were going to be doing with the budget and the work that you all will do as board members, and what I'll do to make sure that we're accountable to having our budget built and ready by spring, after we know what the SEG money is, what kind of funds we have. I wanted you to know that we are starting the process of working on the budget and looking at.
I think, sir, if you'll allow me to interject.
Of course.
I think that this should be added as part of the conversation on December 6th when we're all together, because I think it's gonna go hand in hand with the strategic plan development is budget. You know, that's a big part of, as you just said, what we spend our money on and where it goes and how it's used. So I think those two can go a little bit hand in hand in that work session. It would be good for you to also prepare to give us some information, especially if our new board members are able to join us that day as well. Board members, any question for the superintendent?
Just a comment, about the budget, there are a lot about campaigning, about stakeholders. Their property taxes or whatever. And a lot of it asked, where are those kids today? So that's just something, back down our graduate and see where they are. And not these ones now, but ours, that are graduating coming in next year, or if we can figure out a way, if they're successful, are they coming back to grad? But I mean, that's just things that I did.
The really
Yes, that's
stakeholders,
strategic.
a really neat thing that come out of the PED the last 15 years is the CTE programs. Um, they are really tracking your CTE kids. So if a student like Monica takes introduction to agriculture and she takes welding and she takes horticulture and what do they call it, Mrs. Jones? They're on a career path. They're on a career path. And so they track the students and then they track them into post-secondary. So um, we're lucky we can really watch the kids that are going into CTE program. But what about our kids that go into the military? What about our kids that
Well,
go to trade
just the
school?
stuff that I got in there, and then comes that they would ask me, say, yeah, we know you guys are building a school, we know you're doing this, but are we getting, it? Where are those kids from? That's good.
I also think that we need to engage our counselors at all the schools. I think they're supposed to be responsible for tracking the students and keeping, I guess, well, not tabs on how well they're doing, but that was my understanding years ago was that they were supposed to do the tracking and then provide reports back to the board. And I have, now my 13 years, I have yet to see any kind of reporting on any kind of tracking that any of the counselors have done at any of the schools. So I think we need to push them to do that as well. And what date did you say? I heard December 3rd and then I heard December 6th.
Is gonna be the tribal summit with the
Okay.
school district. And then December 6th will be our work session. And we'll get you more information about both of those.
Okay. And December 3rd, is there a time?
2 to 4. We said 2 to 4:30.
Oh, lots of luck if you're going to have it that time.
It's on Wednesday.
I know. So I said lots of luck.
It's on Wednesday, and that was the best day for
For
everybody.
everybody,
I'm sad
the
that
stars align.
I'm sad that it didn't work out this week because we had
Every
the good meals but we'll have refreshment and
Okay,
coffee.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All
Okay,
right.
let's get going.
Next up, we have our executive session. This will be, the board will meet in executive session pursuant to section 10-15-1H4 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss possible or pending litigation. No action will be taken and only the items listed will be discussed. Board members, is there a motion to move to executive session?
So, second,
Thank you, ma'am. It has been moved by Mr. Jaramillo and seconded by Ms. Hunt Daly to move to executive session as presented. Mrs. Turley, roll call, please.
Dr. Ashambo?
No?
Yes.
You did.
He got me. He got me.
Mr. Daly?
yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Aye, motion carries. The board has moved into executive session at 7:11 PM. Board members, I'll remind you to stay on right now. We will get moved into executive session. There will be the link that you click to be able to join the room for executive.
Is it going to be on the email?
No, ma'am, stay right where you are. The link will pop up in just a second.
Okay.
As soon as knowledge gets us into executive.
Yeah, that's
You're good.
All right, board members. The board met in executive session pursuant to section 10-15-1H4 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss possible or pending litigation. And, sorry, excuse me. No action was taken and only the item listed was discussed. Board members, is there a motion to reconvene open session as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Dr. Archambault and seconded by Mr. Jaramillo to reconvene open session as presented. Mrs. Truly, I will note that Ms. Daly had to leave for the remainder of the meeting.
Okay.
So you don't need to call on her right now.
All right.
Roll call, oh, Mrs. Truly, please.
Dr. Schumann,
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
Aye, the motion carries. The board has reconvened open session at 7:39 PM. Mr. Wagner, future agenda items, sir.
We have some exciting future agenda items. In the next month, we are going to recognize our retiring board members. We want to have a family event and a night before our December 16th board meeting where we celebrate and gather. So further details about that will be coming in the near future. And then January 6th, we have the swearing in of our new board members. Have 3 board members that will be sworn in that night. We want to make that a family event too and have some refreshments and get together for that. We talked earlier in the meeting about our strategic plan work session and the importance of having that work session to talk about our goals as a group, collective group, on the strategic plan. We will work together to develop the annual budget for the 26-27 school year. We will continue working with the GCCS policies. You guys are looking at policies every board meeting, and I'm ready to start showing you the procedures that are coming out of the work with Mrs. Lightfoot and our leadership. It's going to be really nice. We will be talking about the IPP very soon and making sure that we have the IPP ready and updated and agreed upon by everybody. And then again, we need to talk about our facility master plan. What's our next project? What do we need to do to improve our facilities?
Board members, any that we forgot on this one?
No, but thank her. I need to appreciate the time and effort to catch us up on all the policies. That's a thankless job. But it has to be done because that's the way, this is a legally bound organization that has to comply with those things. So it's really appreciated that the time and effort is made.
She's such a treasure, and Mrs. Turley and I were talking, she goes back and watches old board meetings, and she was probably watching the one in 2019, so. People like her are hard to find.
Well, like you say, when I was first coming into this years ago, they talk about, there's a policy, but then there's also procedure to the policy. That they said she has a policy for everything, whether how to sharpen a pencil. She goes, there's a policy and a procedure. That's what I learned, but you gotta have those.
Yes.
Well-deserved recognition, sir.
Right.
Announcements, Mr. Wagner.
We will be closing the district next week in honor of the Thanksgiving break, November 28th, 24th through 28th.
Student dismissal Friday.
Yeah,
We forgot to put that one on
yes,
here.
yes. And it's actually, the buses are staggered, so it's afternoon dismissal, early release.
Gotcha,
So, but the buses are staggered, so.
gotcha.
And then December 2nd, we will have our regular board meeting. December 4th through 6th, we will have the NMSBA Annual Conference in Albuquerque. We also mentioned tonight that the summit, our tribal consultation summit, will be on December 3rd. And we'll probably have a board work session on December 6th, following the conference. And then December 16th is when we have our retiring board members that we want to recognize.
Very good. I'm going to add one item to our calendar, and board members, Mr. Widener and I will email, if possible, December 1st, which is Monday, the Monday that we come back from break. We need to have a very, very brief meeting to address a bar request that needs to happen, because unfortunately the district was not notified until yesterday, which, as we all know, is too late to add to the agenda. So we are going to look to just have a Zoom meeting, hopefully 5 minutes at most, for this bar budget adjustment request. And Mr. Widener will get us that information, and Mrs. Turley will do the PSA and everything like that. So I wanted to put that on the radar, but that needs,
So
can
that,
we
so that means we have to do it.
just Zoom? Yeah,
Time.
yep. December 1st, can we do it at, what time do you start with appointment?
That's 8 o'clock.
At eight?
Obviously, we start at 7 with the paperwork.
Okay.
8
We do, I know, but this needs to get submitted to the PED.
Monday, no, I don't.
So
Morning,
can we
okay.
say 9,
Yeah,
can
I
we
can
say
do it.
9 o'clock via Zoom? It will be literally one item. Will that work?
Yeah.
9 a.m., December 1st, Monday. And we'll get agenda, PSA, and the bar request done. Mr. Ortiz, will that work for you, just for that
Yeah.
brief?
Yes, ma'am, that'll work.
Wonderful. Okay, and we'll get a link sent to Emily, and hopefully she could join for that.
Probably teaching class.
I know she's probably in class, so she may not, but if she is able to do a quick, again, one item, but we've got to get it done so it can be submitted. All right, adjournment. Mr. Wagner.
What if Dr. Archambault votes no?
Second.
I recommend that we adjourn this. meeting.
All right, board members, it has been moved by, okay, it has been moved by Mr. Jaramillo and seconded by Dr. Archambault to adjourn the meeting as presented. Mrs. Turley, roll call.
Dr.
please.
Archambault?
Yes.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Aye, the motion carries. The board has adjourned at 7:46 p.m. Thank you very much, board members. I appreciate you.
Yes, there.
Thank you so much.
Have a happy
You be
holiday.
careful, sir.
Happy Thanksgiving, guy.
It'll be great, hopefully.
Yes.
Mute us, please, ma'am.
Recording stopped.